Welcome to our 5-minute Bible study in the book of Genesis. Today we are beginning to look at the story of Noah. Now you might recall from our last session, we had seen the rise of civilization. Ages have passed since the creation. The world has become populated, but the effects of sin have spread throughout the culture, throughout all of society, even reaching the point where it said that inclination of man's heart was wicked all the time. Judgment is about to fall. We see that coming. But then there's Noah. When we first meet Noah in chapter 6 of Genesis, it simply says, "But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord." Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Amongst the people who were evil, Noah sought God. Amongst the people who were trapped in sin, Noah strove to walk with God. And through him, God is going to bring about salvation for the world. Even when judgment falls, he's going to preserve a family through whom the world will again be populated. Noah becomes, as it were, that instrument of salvation. Now, as we go through the remainder of the book of Genesis, and that's still a number of chapters yet to go, we're going to see this is the pattern of God. God looks for a man. God looks for a person who will be faithful, who will walk with him, who will believe, through whom he can effect his plan of salvation. Now, we've already noticed that after the fall, God immediately set out a rescue plan. He's already promised in that prophetic word that one day the Messiah will come, who will crush the head of the serpent. But to ready for that, he needs to find a person who will follow him. And then of that person, a family who will be his. And of that family, a nation who will belong to him. And out of that nation will come the Messiah, the one who saves. So throughout the rest of Genesis, we're going to see these individuals who are willing to be used of God in his plan of salvation. We'll see Noah, and then Abraham, and then Isaac, and then Jacob, and then Joseph. So those will become the main characters of the book of Genesis as God, through these men of faith, works his plan of salvation. But of course it begins with Noah, who found favor in the eyes of the Lord. And it goes on to say, this is the account of Noah and of his family. Noah was a righteous man. That is, he walked rightly with God. Noah was a righteous man. He was blameless among the people of his time. He walked faithfully with God. Oh, may that be said of us. That we're in right relationship with God. That's what righteousness means. That we walk faithfully in faith with the Lord. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight. It was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. Do you realize how difficult it was for Noah to walk faithfully with God? He lived in a world that was totally corrupt. Sometimes in our world we look around us and there's so much that is against the ways of God, and we think how hard it is sometimes to walk faithfully in the midst of a world that seems intent on doing otherwise. And yet it's nothing compared with Noah. All by himself, it seems, he and his family, they were determined to walk with God, though no one else seemed to want to do that. But Noah was faithful, and God noticed. So God said to Noah, I'm going to put an end to all the people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I'm going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. For I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under heaven, every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you, your sons, your wives, your sons' wives with you. And you will bring into the ark 2 kinds of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. The story of Noah and the ark, of course, is so familiar to us. It is the story of judgment upon our sin, but also the story of salvation. God will save the faithful remnant. And so Noah is to make that ark, which will be the instrument of salvation, to save himself and his family. And he'll start again with Noah in populating the world, and also to save the animals he has created, 2 of every kind, male and female. So see the wonderful plan of salvation illustrated for us in the life of Noah. God finds a faithful man, a faithful family. Through them, he brings his wonder of salvation. We are called to be people like Noah, are we not? Faithful, to walk with God. Even if no one else does, we are called to walk with God. And when God can find someone who is faithful, even just one, if he just finds a Noah, he can, through him, bring about that grace of salvation. Now, in the coming days, we'll look a little more in detail at Noah. But today, just let him be the example for us of faithfulness, of fidelity to God, of one who would, if necessary, stand by himself for God, with God, in faith. We're all called to be like Noah. Hope you have a great day today. I hope you know the blessing of God upon you, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time in our 5-minute Bible study in the book of Genesis.